We're listening to the latest single by The Temper Trap. It's called Lost, and it was released back in 2016. That's 6 years ago. The Aussie band comes out of hibernation when they open for Kings of Leon at Auckland's Spark Arena on October 23rd and 24th. So what has The Temper Trap been doing all this time? Here's lead guitarist Joseph Greer to tell us.
Let's get lost.
So you're going to be here for the Kings of Leon shows.
We are.
And it's been a while since some new music has been happening. So what can we expect with this show, with yours?
Yeah, it's been a while for everything, really.
Yeah.
These are our first shows in close to 3 years. So
Crikey.
That's kind of, there's a little bit of pressure, there, and not small shows. So we're starting rehearsals today. So hopefully that'll make us feel a little bit better about it. We've started working on new music, but I don't know if we'll be playing any of it yet. I think we probably want to keep these shows as uncomplicated as possible and
Sure.
not sort of overextend ourselves with anything new. But it's possible. If we start rehearsing and everything feels good and we've got spare time, we might start devoting that to working out some new music.
So when a band has been out of action for so long, what's it like as a musician to have to get the engine rolling again?
I think it probably affects everyone differently. I think for me, I've always struggled with the anxiety side of things and sort of, imposter syndrome and things like that. So
right.
I love it. I love playing. And when I'm in the swing of it, it's like one of the best things that I could ever do. But I also kind of battle the inner dialogue of, what if you mess up? And I make it a bigger deal than it needs to be. But I think the rehearsal process will be good because I think the thing that you can't rehearse for is you can just play, practice yourself, but the thing you can't rehearse for is actually how your body reacts to that stimulus of walking into a room and there's thousands of people there. It's quite a vulnerable feeling, and I think that sometimes it makes your body react in a way that doesn't matter how much you've practiced. You sort of just get a bit lost. So I think, and funnily enough, the only real practice for that is to just
do it.
So I think once we actually do these New Zealand shows, I think I'll be feeling a lot more relaxed and in the swing of things again, because it is, like I said, when it's good, it's like such an amazing feeling.
So have you been hanging out with the band in the interim, or have you guys kind of gone your separate ways? Is this a big reunion type of thing?
Yeah, so we've sort of been living separately for quite a while, even for the past sort of 6 or 7 years. A couple of us live in Melbourne, myself and the drummer, and then Dougie lives in Bali, and Johnny lives in Oregon, in Portland. So we sort of haven't been able to see each other since the start of COVID, and then we just got together like a month ago, and we did some writing. So that was the kind of big reunion. And today everyone went away again, and today we're actually meeting up again to start rehearsal. So it's been kind of nice, getting to see each other again, and because we're like brothers, so it's been a long time to be apart, and these gaps have been the longest since the band's sort of been together, that we haven't played a show or seen each other or things like that.
Yeah. So I know you're a Kiwi originally. Have you been back to New Zealand during the pandemic and all that stuff, or visiting?
Yeah, so this year was the first time, the start of this year, which was really nice because I couldn't see my mum or any family. So I've been to all my family's in Dunedin. I grew up in Auckland, but that's where I go back to now because that's kind of where the base is. So I've been back to Dunedin twice this year, which has been lovely.
Cool. So you're saying the band is going to get together and start rehearsing imminently.
Yes.
Take me through how you imagine that's going to happen. Like, does somebody take charge? Do you guys just kind of mull around, plug things in, and hope make some noise? I mean, what do you think is going to happen?
Well, basically, we'll just get together with the crew, and it's funny. A lot of it's actually more to do with that side of things, like making sure our in-ears are working.
Mm-hmm.
And then once all that technical stuff's done, we'll just run the set, or we'll probably have to come up with the set. We've got an idea of what we'll do, but
Yep.
we, try and do a few variations and see what feels the best, because we've only got 45 minutes, so you kind of want to make sure that the flow of the set feels good and that it works, and you're playing enough songs and the ones that people want to hear, and the ones that you enjoy playing, and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a kind of an ideal situation. You're going to be playing in front of a big crowd, but it's not the crowd to see you, so the pressure is a little bit off, and you guys can kind of find your footing again.
Exactly, and thank you for saying that, because that it's true. Like I'm always one to make things a bigger deal than they need to be, and I think that even though it's a big deal, it's important, but it's also like it's it's a support slot. So I think that people aren't there to see you, or I'm sure that there are some people to see us, but
Yep.
It's probably not as like much pressure as you would think.
Right. So thinking ahead to the next album, whenever and wherever that happens, music-wise, are you guys a different band than you were, say, 4 or 5 years ago, or 6 years ago, even whenever the previous record came out? How have you changed, and how is that going to be reflected in what we hear?
Yeah, I definitely think there are changes, and there always sort of have been ever since the first album. I think the thing that feels exciting now is that in the past we've sort of always been following that. I mean, the follow up of the first album, Sweet Disposition particularly, it was so successful, and that's really great. We really love that. But I think there's always been that sort of pressure of trying to recreate that, and I think we've tried to do that in the past, but it's never really felt right, and it's always felt like the music that is good never really comes from that place. Like all the songs on the first album were written from a place of complete innocence, just
right.
And it's a really common thing that happens. I think the band's first album comes from that place of innocence, and then after that, if it's successful, suddenly there's a million people talking to you, and there's big record labels, and there's radio stations, and all these people, and you don't really know who to trust anymore.
Right.
So I feel like now we're far enough along that I think if it doesn't feel like good for us or exciting, there's not really any point doing it. And what we've been doing lately is just going in, like with these writing sessions. We didn't really have any preconceived ideas. I feel like it's been long enough now that we don't feel any pressure to sort of back up anything. We just want to have fun and for it to feel good. And if that works, that'd be lovely. But if it doesn't, I think that's okay. Like it just doesn't feel worth it to try and recreate something that came from a place that was innocent. And I feel like now, if it's going to work again, we're in a place where we're writing music from that innocence again.
Right.
So it feels good. So I'm excited. I don't know how to sort of describe it. It's not like we're going, an avant-garde direction or anything like that. I think the band at its heart still maintains some pop sensibility and that kind of thing. But I also think that it's different, but it's exciting to me. So hopefully it's other people too.
I hope so. So personally for you, during the time off, did you stay away from music? Did you dive into other music? Did you practice a lot? Did you write on your own? What kind of stuff did you do to kind of keep yourself occupied?
So in terms of what I was doing kind of as my day job, I was actually teaching guitar, which was,
okay.
I was kind of lucky that I could continue doing that on Zoom, even though it was kind of quite intense teaching, 5 hours in a row on Zoom every day. I was lucky, or I'm fortunate that I could do it, because it meant that I could still keep working while, the band was doing nothing.
Yep.
And besides that, we actually even before the start of COVID, we decided that because we were all living apart, we needed to sort of rework the way that we did things, rather than just like, let's all get into the studio and or into a rehearsal room and write, because it's just not practical anymore. So we decided that we would create a Dropbox. And I just, to be honest, like got into a really good flow of just writing. And so I must have written 30, 40 songs that were just uploaded, and the other guys as well. And we just did that. So it was actually really a creative time. And, you know, it's funny that when we got into the studio recently to start looking at some of them, they just completely changed, you know, like one song that's almost like electronic becomes an acoustic song. But I think it's been nice to just have those starting points, to have a bunch of material to start with, and then, you know, happily let it go somewhere else.
Right. But having said that, if four of you have each gone off and written 30 some songs, there's got to be something going on where a process has to happen where everybody's happy, yet, you know, you can't be recording 100 tunes right off the bat.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it's definitely going to be consolidated in a massive way.
Yeah.
But, you know, then like going into this week, we sort of all shortlisted, you know, these are the 7, 8 songs that we all like, that we agree on. And then from there, you know, it'll probably get worked down again, and we'll go from there. And then, you know, even we started working on stuff that wasn't written. So I think it's just having those little sparks that help create something.
Yep. And when you're teaching, what do you get out of the teaching process? Because must be, obviously everybody's probably quite a bit younger than you are, your students, and they have a different musical outlook than you do.
Yeah, it's so funny enough, I have a really big range. Like my oldest student's 70, in his 70s.
Right.
And actually I teach mainly adults, but I've had as young as 5 as well.
Right.
And I'd say 95% of the time I find it massively rewarding. I find it very satisfying. I think on the younger side, it can be challenging, but only because I think that it takes a younger person that spark to figure out like why they love music. And sometimes they're just being told to play music, so it's hard to sort of get get something from that. It kind of just feels like you're going through the motion. But every now and then you'll get a kid who's like, just like, you can just tell they're going to be a musician, you know, and to hopefully be a part of that process, or I don't even really consider, like, when I'm teaching a child, I don't try and be very like studious with them and like, let's try and learn scales. And I just want them to cultivate a love of music. And you want their early experiences of music to be one that's really good, because even if they don't pick it up then, maybe later in life they will. And I think that if their early experiences of like learning piano is just being strict in scales and that kind of thing, it can actually have the opposite effect. So on that side, it's very rewarding to be part of that. And on the opposite side, on the older students, it's a different type of rewarding, where you're experiencing people that had no idea what they were capable of.
Right.
And, you know, like older guys that are, you know, like listen to Pink Floyd all their life or something, and suddenly they're in a realm where they can understand, or it's becoming possible, and you can just feel that. It's
right.
Such a cool feeling, you know. It's so awesome to be a part of that, because it's the same feeling that I've had with music throughout my life, you know. So I love being a part of that, and it's definitely very rewarding for me.
Cool. All righty. Well, our time is coming to an end, but looking forward to I mean, these shows with Kings of Leon got to be a thrill for everybody concerned, because it's just like everything's starting up again, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. Right. Kings of Leon were a band that, you know, we all listened to. We all sort of, in the early days of the band, were you know, inspired by and listened to a lot. So it's going to be an honor to do this. It'll be fun. All righty. Thank you very much, and good luck with everything. Yeah. We'll look for some new music from you sometime soon. Yeah. All right. Bye-bye.